I would say that late fall is my least favorite time of year in New England. The trees are bare, the days are short, cold, and damp. There's no snow on the ground yet, but we know it's coming soon. Knowing that winter's coming is even more disappointing for me this year because I'm finally at a point where I'm just about ready to start testing out this Jeep. And with the weather turning, I know I'm not going to have much more time this year to drive this thing around. I've got a bunch of work I want to do on it over the winter, and I want to get some testing done first, so I better get into it. But before I do that, I need to do a cooling system on this thing. I do have the original copper radiator from the Jeep. It's got one hole in there that I could probably patch up and some bent fins, but other than that, it's pretty good. The problem we run into is some clown put this battery box right where the radiator's supposed to go. So, that ain't gonna fit. I do have plenty of space here, and I could probably move it forward, but I don't really need that much cooling anyway, since I'm just cooling the inverter and the electric motor. So I picked up this. It's a Kubota UTV radiator. It was like 30 bucks on eBay. It's a $30 gamble, but it should fit up inside the shroud here. This is all going to be a lot easier to do with the grill off. Yoink! Well, there's going to have to be some cutting, but before we do that, I'm also going to need a fan for this thing. I don't really have another option other than an electric one. I got a cheap one off of eBay as well. Everybody says these are terrible, but they're especially terrible if you use the little zip tie mounting kit thing. I 3D printed a fan shroud in 4 pieces. With that assembled, I could figure out how far forward it needed to go and drill holes for mounting the bottom of it. Aw, damn it, I should have drilled those on the inside. I had to cut out a bunch of the structure that reinforces the mounts for the grill supports, so I welded some of it back in a different structurally supportive configuration. Took a few tries, but I made some 3D printed mounts. They've got little rubber grommets in them. That's all pretty cute. Now I need to take it apart again and start plumbing. It's got a 90-degree elbow coming out of the bottom. It's 1.25 inches. It needs to go into this pump, which is 3/4, so I need some adapters. I need a few of these, so I'm just going to show you the most complicated one. I made a video on doing custom hose barbs like this before, which was actually a good reference for me to remember how to do it. This one's going to be a Y piece, so one leg of it gets notched out on the mill. I figured welding it together and then drilling it out would be easier than trying to drill it first and then line it up, and it worked out pretty well. Simple. This one just steps down. I think I'm going to have it step down here so I can put a smaller hole there. As always, I'm fighting for every little shred of space here to get things mounted. Kind of just folded this over, made a little hem on it so it wouldn't rub on the hose. Got my water pump mounted here. It's a semi-inconvenient nut there, and I need a shorter screw, but that'll work. I've got a thermal switch and a relay mounted for the fan, and I got everything harnessed up pretty nicely. And the Y here, this one goes into a 3/4 inch hose to the motor, that one goes up to the inverter. This one's going to be the return for the motor. Which seems like it can go right down here. Will that fan ever actually turn on? Is this whole cooling system overkill, or is it not enough? Honestly, I have no idea. This is one of those cases where I'm just going to build it, see if it works, and if not, then adjust in the future. Alright, I think I'm ready to start putting water in. I'm just using water for now, because 1, it's going to be a lot easier to clean up when it leaks out all over the floor. 2, I'm going to tear this thing down over the winter, so there's not much point in putting antifreeze in it right now. And 3, if there's any residual coolant in the motor and the inverter and they're incompatible, this will be a good way to dilute it and flush it out. Well, I did have 2 little leaks. One was where this coolant tank goes onto the inverter. Got a new O-ring in there, and it's been sitting overnight. Seems pretty good now. The other one was down on the temperature switch. Gave that another 1/4 turn or so. That seems pretty good too. When I turn it on and the coolant pump kicks on, seems like the coolant's circulating pretty well when I turn it on. Might still be a little bit of air in there. I should probably go shake this thing around a little bit, put it at some funny angles, and see if I can get some more of that air out of it. I've shown this old logging road that runs up through my property a few times before. Alright, I guess we're going 4-wheel. But I've got enough land and terrain that I should be able to make a bit longer of a Jeep trail, even if it does have to double back on itself a bunch. I started out by just walking the trail and flagging where I wanted it to go. Picked out a few fun obstacles to drive over, and then came back with the chainsaw and loppers to clean it up. I also found out really quickly that my horn contact makes a really hard squeaking noise when I steer. So I need to apologize for that, but I will say it does sort of lend itself to that vintage Jeep feel. There were a few spots where it made sense to cut it in as I drove it for the first time to be sure I could make the turns. I had a bunch of really cool shots planned out, but my inexperience got the better of me here. But I've learned a lot quickly and got this figured out pretty well. Let me take you on a tour. Kind of right off the bat here, you hit this sort of gatekeeper obstacle that's just a side hill, trying not to slide into that tree. Then it makes a pretty sharp turn into this descent. And the wild thing is, with the regen going, I'm only using the motor to slow down. I'm not using the brakes at all through here. I'm gonna hit the back bumper a little. Well, didn't. The trail ended up being about 4/10 of a mile long, about 6/10 of a kilometer. Might seem like kind of a silly thing, but it's given me a really good opportunity to get a lot of the settings on the inverter dialed in a lot better. And it's starting to reveal some of the weaknesses the Jeep has as it sits right now. But overall, for a little Jeep on small tires with open differentials, it's really a lot of fun. This little bit gave me a lot of trouble the first time. I think a tree had fallen over here, so there's a hole where the root ball was and a whole bunch of rotten logs. But once I got it smashed down and aired down the tires a bit, it seems to go pretty well. This section here I'd cut in as an ATV trail, so it's pretty well established already. There's a little sleeper hole right here that kind of gets me every time. And then through this little depression here, eventually I'm gonna make this go left, do a little loop around, come back up past the big rock. But let's just say I had a little misadventure down there, and for now I'm gonna go right. If this big oak tree looks familiar, that's because it's what I made my anvil stand out of. Now that I can get in here easily, I'll probably come back and haul a lot more of it out for firewood. This area here, I still want to add some more rocks to, do some work to make a little rock garden. I would open up some more lines, and since it's sort of in a little gully, it'll help with erosion too. Speaking of firewood, I don't want any of the trees I cut down to go to waste, so I'll go ahead and haul those out. And then it's back up the hill, unload some firewood, and do it again. Let's look at the carnage so far. The bumpers that I spent a long time straightening out didn't really hold up to trying to push big logs around with them. I want to cut these things down anyway, so I'll probably just make one from scratch that's a bit stronger. I also backed into a tree and broke a taillight lens. These lights are obsolete, but there are still lenses on eBay for a reasonable price, so not a big issue. Some of the undercarriage has gotten scraped up, but I'm planning on doing some skid plates and low-profile spring mounts anyway. So far I've put about 5 or 6 miles on the Jeep, and it's a long way from getting boring, so I'm really looking forward to driving my little trail as much as I can before winter sets in, and when that happens, I can get to work making things on this even better for the spring. As always, a big thanks to everyone that supports the channel through Patreon, YouTube memberships, buying the merch on jeremymakesthings.net, Professional Project Collectors Association, and all the viewers, so thanks for watching. Places you can't even walk.